And then there's those guys who ride down the hill on little bikes. I remember
Yeah, I know
rocket bikes or something like that.
We'll go to
Yeah,
that and we'll put a piano wire across the street
Oh Jesus!
just for kicks,
Just for fun, just for some like fun
for shits
amputations.
and giggles.
There's no weekend better than seeing an arm fly off a skateboarder. Welcome to another episode of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker on this May 25th, 2022. Wow, the time is just getting behind us. We're running a little late on the live stream today. We're about an hour off. That's my fault. But we do have a new client, everybody. Our client for today is Ports of Sports, Thwart Jorts.
Behold, trapped in a hellscape of their own invention, socially unaware old white men bound by the pretense of being fake lawyers yet knowing no law, no exquisite Latin terminology, they are inexplicably compelled to quibble over minutia, squabble over triflings, and bicker like those who value their backyards far too highly without even knowing the difference between an easement and an alleyway. At this very moment, you have entered the heart of the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Let's get started.
I don't know what the hell we're going to talk
What's a
about.
Jort?
Well,
isn't that a dress short?
Jort are jean shorts.
Oh, that's a real thing.
Yes. Yeah, that's the people came up with a name for whenever you have shorts that are made from blue jeans.
Yeah, because jean shorts was so fucking long. Thank God.
Well, the extra syllable. That's why we have acronyms, that's so they shorten things.
I know.
But anyway, before we get along any further, we do have an announcement. June 15th, we're doing our live stream for the second annual Quibble Award Show, everybody. So stay tuned for that. We're going to have guests galore, and we're going to be giving away awards to everybody who we give awards to. That's kind of who gets awards, are the ones who get them. And it'll be previous guests who've been on the show. Again, this June 15th, it'll be airing live for 2 hours from 5 p.m. East Pacific time to 7 p.m. Pacific time. I suddenly couldn't figure out how to add something plus 2.
Two more than
Anyway,
the number you started with.
Yes, we've sold, and since last year's show, when we introduced our merch, we have sold 2 T-shirts in the course of that year. One with Greg's face on it, and one with my face on it. So now we just need someone to buy one with Brendan's face on
Nobody
it.
likes Brandon.
I could have told you that.
Right. But before we get any further with our client, which again is Ports of Sports, Thwart Jorts. That's a hard one to say. Greg has found us a sponsor for the show today. So why don't you go ahead and fire away with our new sponsor.
My mind is still reeling from the client. It's a lot of...
Ports of Sports, Thwart Jorts?
Ports of Sports?
Thwart Jorts.
Jorts.
Yeah, it's good for practicing if you're about to do public speaking.
This is what happens when I don't chime in with ideas.
It's exactly what happens when it's left to the last
You guys need
minute.
my guiding hand. I know it's my own fault, but man, that's terrible.
Your guiding masturbatory
hand.
All right, so what's the sponsor we have,
okay.
Greg?
Here we go. The following is a...
Go ahead. We have 3 people on TikTok, so they want to hear this.
Great. The following is a public service announcement from the Social Media Sensitivity Bureau. Recently, the world has been made aware that certain kinds of language are unacceptable in the public forum. Internet instigators of hate speech, political divisiveness, and Greedo shooting first have been rightfully barred from many social media platforms. Even those with good intentions have been silenced because of their discussions about highly charged topics. Which is why we urge you to refrain from substantive debate on social media. You might think that after centuries of white hegemony over Western culture, we as a people could engage in thoughtful conversations concerning racial matters as a path to understanding, healing, and eventually correcting an immoral system. Well, you'd be wrong. Many users of the internet, as well as state-of-the-art Skynet T-1000 bots, may misconstrue the intentions of your well-meaning post. Take, for example, the Pinterest account of Nanette at yahoo.com. In solidarity with Black History Month, she posted before and after photographs of the 1921 massacre of Tulsa's Black Wall Street with the hashtag thumbs up emoji for racial justice. A third of the commentators questioned her dedication to Black Lives Matter and accused her of cultural appropriation. Another third thought she was giving a thumbs up to proud white people standing up for their heritage. And the rest of the commentators thought Tulsa was a city in the Ukraine. Within a week, she was banned from Pinterest, and rightfully so. As we say in the social media Hall of Justice, a heady subject can land you in over your head. So the next time you want to weigh in on an important matter on YouTube, why not upload a video of a pygmy marmoset riding a dressage ferret? Or a delightful musical number from the jazz singer? Because everybody likes cute monkeys, and everyone enjoys Al Jolson. Another public service
Oh, it's a
announcement.
public service announcement. I'm like, where's the sponsor? What are you selling here?
I care about the world. You guys just want to hawk shit, consumer
Yeah.
culture.
We need to get back to poop bars, man.
I want to make the world a better place.
So what was that? What organization was responsible for this public service
At
announcement,
the
Greg?
beginning, the Social Media Sensitivity Bureau.
Yeah, you didn't
Bureau,
say it
yeah.
again. So
What?
I said you
Oh,
didn't say the name of it again
No,
at
I
the
did
end
not
to
say
remind
it again.
people to look it up at www.greghasweirdideas.com.
www. Social Media Sensitivity Bureau in jorts.org.
All
right, well-
like
That's what happens when you have a lot of time to create something, Greg.
I was good.
Yeah, I came up with that.
Public
That
service
was
announcement.
strong.
All I know is I was watching Brendan and he was laughing heartily throughout the course of that. So
Heartily.
heartily, yes.
So that was a
Tell.
Heart Smart sponsor.
I'm a big Shaggy Dog kind of joke thing where like Norm Macdonald, where we're just like 10 minutes he's still telling the joke and you're like, what?
What?
Anyway,
All right. Well, let's move on into our client. Our client again for this week is Ports of Sports Thwart Jorts. So let's break that down. So what does Ports of Sports mean? Well, that would be areas where sports take place, right?
Ports.
So ports,
You
right?
like
where
in
sports
harbors,
are. And then
harbors,
jorts are, as we mentioned earlier, are jean shorts. And thwarting means, of course, to push aside and prevent things from happening, from getting into play. And so typically, if you're in an area where there are many sports, where it's generally more of a, or at least masculine sports, I suppose, you'll be pushing away those who generally wear jorts, which tend not to be guys. At
Have you ever
least,
seen a
the
Frisbee
ones who are
golf?
really into sports anyway.
Have you ever seen a Frisbee golf competition? There's plenty
I
of
have
jorts
not,
going
Greg,
on.
actually. Are they wearing jorts, though?
Yeah,
Are they
don't
wearing
wear, like,
jean shorts, though?
could be.
oh, Frisbee golf for 100%.
They might be wearing
70s.
regular shorts, but not necessarily jorts.
But they can wear jorts. It's not like in the NFL you can't wear jorts. You can
It's
wear
more, it's a potential of thwart. It depends upon the port.
Why port? What a
Wait,
Chevy?
does it depend
Or
on
all
the
sporting
port
events
or-
and
I was just trying to make everything rhyme. That's all. I couldn't figure out. I originally had the word court in there, and I couldn't figure out how to use quart. So,
like a tennis court.
Ports and
escort.
jorts?
I could have guessed got an escort in there somewhere. Anyway, it was just.
I have a friend.
We were going to talk about sports today. Was what the general client was. So.
See, if you had asked me, we could have had Borts Menorts, my friend who that's a stage name. He could have been a guest today, which would have been perfect.
Port Menort.
No, Borts Menorts.
Borts Menorts.
That's an actual person.
He does like a performance art, dance, musical thing. It's kind of weird. It's funny.
Big name.
Fun.
Big name.
It's a big name.
Oh,
Borts
yeah, balloon
Menorts.
animals. You know,
Borts
balloon
Menorts
animals,
talks
right?
about ports, sports, thwarting jorts.
While he wears jorts.
Well,
He's a big jort
guy.
wearer.
He was a jort wearer. Very kind of hippie.
Don't they call those jorties? Like if you're a jort wearer, you're a jorty.
I don't know. You could be a Jordan
Jordache
Kushner.
jean? What about Jordache jeans wear?
That would be
That's something
different.
Different.
Jordy.
There would be a Jort. That's what that would be. All right. Well, we wanted to essentially get into the discussion of sports because Greg is a huge fan of competitive sports. And I believe his favorite is curling, if I remember correctly.
I like curling.
Yeah.
Now that's a sport.
So who is your favorite athlete in curling, Greg?
Horts. He also does that.
No,
Hold
it's
that
his
thought.
brother.
I will be back in a moment. Uno momento. But you guys talk to.
Sven Hammerskold.
We're adults. We can wipe our own ass, Matt, without your guidance. Trust me.
I really have I have a lot of money this year on a Sven Hammerskold, the MVP for the curling.
Yeah, you like the Finnish team, huh?
Oh yeah, they're always the best. But Sven this year, he's been dominating the
I
ice.
thought Bjorg did pretty well out of Sweden, a young up and comer. You know, he's got that sweep technique.
New York is like, she's good at the beginning, but doesn't finish up well. She can't pull it off at the end, the end run. She starts off strong, but
and it just peters out.
Yeah, peters out.
Yeah, okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
so,
I was at a bar last night, and I almost got in a fist fight over this topic. It was gnarly because Portland's a big.
Portland's a big fight about curling.
Yeah, Portland's a big curling town. We take it very seriously here. Don't bring up curling at a bar. Trust me, it's not worth it. You'll have 20 guys being like, "No, you're full of shit. No way." They get really heated about it.
That's great. I'm taking you up. I'm gonna go into a bar and just start screaming out all kinds of curling shit.
They also so I don't know if you know any frisbee golf guys, but I know some guys who take it so seriously that they correct you and say it's disc golf. They actually are snobby about it. It's not frisbee. It's disc golf. Please don't call it that.
There's a probably about 3 miles from my place, maybe 4. There's a frisbee golf or frolf or whatever they call it. It's one of those courses because I drive by it and I see and I don't know, like a Dirty Sanchez. It's got it's got these the whatever they are, what they're shooting for. And I didn't know what it was at first when I moved here. I'm like, what the hell is that? And then finally I stopped with my kids, got out and investigated. I'm like, oh my God. We went and did it once and we never went back. I always thought it would be fun, but
it seems fun. I never did either. Seems fun.
It is. I mean, it's no less weird than regular golf, honestly.
So the holes are just they're sticks, right? Just a pole in the ground.
It's like a pole like this, right? And then there's like a basket around it like this, and then around the whole thing are like chains. So if you get your frisbee, it hits the chains and then it has to fall into the basket.
Oh, okay. I just
so you're aiming. It's a pole, but they kind of they have a thing to catch it because it's not like you just hit the pole.
So if you hit the pole and it somehow ricochets and doesn't fall in the basket, you don't get the point.
That's right. It's like a missed putt. It's like if you hit the ball and it did like some sort of outer rim circle thing and then went the other way, and you're like, what the hell? Same thing.
That's bullshit. That's like frisbee basketball. That's if a guy hits a pole from 200 yards, it doesn't go in. I would just be like, get him the fuck.
Yeah, but
that's bullshit.
But just like golf, you start way far away from the damn thing. Unless you're Superman, you're not getting it all the way there.
But when you hit the pole, when you get it in the hole, hitting the pole is the same thing, really. You're hitting.
Nah, you could. And then, can you imagine the arguments? I hit the pole. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did. I heard the noise. I didn't hear any noise.
That's
I
true.
hit the pole.
Yeah. Especially if it's like 70 yards away, you can barely see it.
Like, I hit it. You can totally tell I hit it. Just I glanced it off the side, and then it's like Channel 11 News, death on the Frisbee golf course.
So there's like disc golf hooligans who get outraged, riot.
Yeah, they riot. This isn't how you play the game, and they come running out with pitchforks and shit.
They knock over
It's
rubbish.
terrible. Yeah. Tomorrow is the last day of school here in Florida, so that's exciting.
What does that have to do with sports?
It doesn't have anything to do with the sport. Well, it does. The sideline is where this ties together is my daughter is last day of school. My others aren't in school anymore, but they're the Highlanders.
Now,
So
what sport is this?
They're
I didn't catch
whatever
it.
sport. They have a football team. They have a.
Oh, they're all high. Yeah.
They're the Highlanders because Dunedin is a town in Scotland, and it's also just north of Clearwater. So
And it's right next to Food is for Eatin.
So do the Highlanders all try to kill each other to get the energy of the next one so they can live longer? Are the teams very small?
Yeah, I talked about that. They're out on the field, and all of a sudden they start killing each other. It doesn't seem to carry over, although they do literally have, I think at least 2, maybe 3 students who literally play the bagpipes. Like they're middle school kids in Florida playing the bagpipes.
Now, are there a lot of Scottish people in your school district, or they just thought it was a cool name?
Nope. Everybody in the Dunedin Middle School is practically black, Hispanic, and everyone knows Dagny because she's the whitest person there.
She hasn't been out in the sun as long.
No, like she's translucent,
It's her Irish and Minnesotan blood that's seeping through her.
And her
Scandinavian.
Her middle
and then
elfin blood.
Yeah, then she's got the super blonde hair, which none of the other kids carried this long. None of my other kids had platinum blonde hair until they were in their teens. So she's got that.
That might work in her favor someday.
Out of a crowd. We went to like an event, and my oldest was sitting there, and we're like, I guess she should be easy to find. Oh, there she is, because she just stands out like that.
She's the blonde.
Very blonde.
All right, so I had to walk away, deal with an electrician, so I apologize to everybody for abandoning the conversation. This hopefully should never happen again, unless it's some weird circumstance like the last 2 weeks. But I know we were last talking about Greg's affection for curling, and then apparently you're talking about Dunedin, Florida. So
it's the last day of school in Florida.
Yeah.
So that means
We were talking.
Oh, continue.
Yeah. I was going to say we ended up talking about. We went from curling to
disc golf, to be proper.
Yeah, disc golf, and then we talked about that for a little while, and then somehow we got on, and then we were doing a Scottish thing because the people were coming out of the woods with pitchforks, and they all had Scottish accents.
Yeah.
So you're going to like the Highland Games.
Yeah, then we talked about you for a little while.
So caber tossing is probably part of the conversation, right?
It was coming up. We didn't get to it. We were waiting for you because we know that's your specialty.
I'm all about caber tossing, but with really, really tiny cabers, which I call toothpicks, which I'm willing to carry in one hand and throw at leisure.
I think I said caper. A caper?
That'd be a completely different competition.
Yeah.
It'd be like flicking off your fingertip if you're doing capers. And then you have to do it in somebody's mouth. I think that could be an entire sport, as a matter of fact.
No, you should have to do it onto a princess bagel with cream cheese and lox.
What the hell is a princess bagel?
Oh, you poor, sad.
Throw away the pity and answer the question.
I feel sorry for you. It's one of the
Fine.
best.
Again, I got the pity.
It's a bagel. The bagel and lots of cream cheese, but then you put like red onion, capers, maybe some tomato slices. It's very popular in New York.
But it's called a princess bagel?
It's a bagel with stuff on it. Like a good bagel would have.
A basic bagel is lox and cream cheese, but you're saying by adding capers and tomato makes it a princess bagel?
Oh, and red onions.
Red onions.
You have this thing about red onions because a couple of weeks ago you had like some meal that it was It was the Braunschweiger, the liverwurst, that it had to have red
Yes.
onions on it.
You got
Otherwise,
to.
it's not a real Braunschweiger sandwich.
It's not
So
right.
what is it with you and red onions, Greg? Is
Just
this
certain
like
things you
your
gotta
competitive sport?
Just like peanut butter, you gotta have jelly on it. Certain things need other things.
That's not true, though.
That's a T-shirt. Certain things need other things.
That sounds like one of our
Things need other
conversations. Certain things need other things. But
Yes.
peanut butter
There was-
doesn't have to have jelly. It can just be eaten
It,
straight, Greg.
Most people don't like to eat it.
What kind of monster is just gonna dip a spoon into the peanut butter and just?
I think there's millions of monsters out there like that.
I'm a pocket monster about that shit.
You use it like
Put
a
it in
small
your-
spoon.
Yeah.
You put it in your pocket.
You know what I do?
Really?
I will like sit there with Nutella and peanut butter and just with a spoon, take a spoonful of each and shove it in my mouth and mix it up in my mouth. So it's less carbs. I don't make a sandwich, but
I
yeah.
think that you're adding plenty of carbs with all the sugar that's in both of
I
them.
know it's like
Yeah.
pudding though. It's like eating pudding, but I'm just like sitting there going,
No, it's not pudding, Greg. It's Nutella and peanut butter.
it's better than pudding. Actually, it's so good. It's
No.
amazing.
No,
And
that's
depending on your mood, you can increase one or the other. Like, I'm more in a savory mood, or I want sweets.
Yeah.
You just put a little peanut butter.
So if you're in a
Like-
savory
like
mood,
when-
you dip like a shrimp in the peanut butter.
Yeah,
I
bacon.
was like saying, like when you make pho, it's like, I think it's going to need a little more hot sauce, a little less poison this batch around. That
A little less
kind of
poison?
poison.
Oh.
Oh,
Poison.
poison. Ah, I've been
Poison.
poisoned by my own petard in this case,
Yeah.
thinking it was
Oh,
poison.
that was a dad joke, but that was a fucking brilliant Albert Einstein if you did a joke.
Just one of my regular reaching jokes that, can fall flat easily.
That was a good one.
Anyway, so Greg and I don't watch sports generally. Brendan watches football and maybe other things. I'm not sure. I'm not really against sports. I just don't watch sports. I don't really have a huge problem with them other than the fact that they're kind of boring to me. And that's the major issue, I suppose, regarding watching sports. But I'll watch some. I've been kind of getting into my nephew's sport. He's a rock climber. He recently participated in the World Cup of rock climbing, speed climbing, and he got silver medal. So that was pretty cool.
It's not really a sport.
That's not really a sport. Though.
He's got an official sponsor that pays him. So
I get
How
that,
much?
but I'm saying it's
at least $5.
$5.
Every time he climbs the mountain.
I'm just saying,
$5.
when I think sports, when I think people talk about sports classically, they talk about this team versus that team in some sort of head-to-head sort of combat: basketball, soccer, football, tennis.
Did you say combat basketball? Was that like when they come out with weapons?
It's like rollerball.
I would love that. I might actually watch combat basketball.
Yeah.
They go out there, they're tackling each other for the ball.
Yeah. So I think sports doesn't make any sense to you because you're just not into it. Just
No,
like some people
sports
aren't into
makes
something
sense
else.
to me. I'm just saying that it's not for me. I understand it. I used to play
What
sports. so I enjoy it.
what don't you like about it?
Just the general repetitiveness of the activity, for the most part. It's like with basketball. It's like they run down the court and they put the ball in the basket and they grab the ball and then they go back down the other way.
They do some amazing athleticism doing that.
I appreciate the
Baseball-
athleticism of the athletes.
Baseball, on the other
yeah.
hand, though, it's just like that is boring as fuck.
Well,
There's not
baseball has its
athleticism.
positive aspects as well. It does have its moments of athleticism.
Hot
which-
dogs and beer
only when it's on the field.
in the stadium.
The more you know about the sport and the more you understand it, especially basketball or football, the more you enjoy it because you see the nuances in it. Because if you don't understand what's going on, then it does look like back and forth and somebody gets tackled and that's it. But if you understand it, like, watching somebody play chess would be the same. You understand what the game is. You're like, oh, I see what they did there, or they didn't do it this way, or whatever. That's the problem.
But I understand football and I understand baseball. I played both of
I
them.
played football.
I played baseball. I played football. I didn't play
So
basketball.
you guys don't like it because you're not that kind of guy. That's not the kind of guy you are.
What?
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Well, no, I suppose I'm not that
I mean,
kind of
I know that
person.
I know a
suppose,
lot of
so.
I know a lot of people that I talk to, not you, but a lot of other men that I know that are like, football, I can take it or leave it. I'm like, well, what do you know about it? And they're like, I know that, 4 downs, and then they have to get it, and then they got 4 more turns, and, Yeah, I said, but do you understand about formations and things like that? Oh, no. And then I would explain it to them. It's like when I went to watch soccer for the first time, I was like, this is stupid. And back and forth and back and forth. It wasn't even as fun as football. It was just lots of fucking running and just people running. But then I had a soccer guy with me, and he's like, no, here, watch. And then he explained it to me. I'm like, oh. And it was, slightly more interesting.
What's more boring to you, baseball or soccer? What would you rather watch?
I'd rather watch soccer.
Me
Just
too.
because they're running.
Yeah.
Baseball is just a lot of standing around and
It's a lot of tension. There's tension
a
in
lot
baseball.
of batter. I'm like, well,
He's the better.
I don't think they do that in professional games, Greg.
They should. I used to love doing that.
I might watch it. Or if the pitcher could just throw the ball on the ground and then just go tackle the batter, just beat the shit out of him, and that's okay. I don't know. They have to make it a little more cool. Baseball sucks. Basketball, you have all. Basketball's almost like athletic dancing. I mean, some of the shots and the turnarounds, but a lot of it's not that way. And then football, there's this whole. But again, it gets a little boring because a lot of it's just this and that's it, and this and then that's it.
I was playing Little League baseball in the late '70s, which obviously we all know was before the everyone gets a trophy attitude. And even as a little kid, I thought that he's no batter was so unsportsmanlike, and no parent said, "Hey, cut that out. You're distracting the guy. Let him concentrate so he can hit the ball." It was just like it was.
I think that many of the parents were taking that as a proxy for child abuse. In other words, they could get actual child abuse out of their way without getting in trouble by abusing other people.
They could see their child being abused, but they wouldn't have to do it themselves.
Right. They couldn't get in trouble for it, but they could get enjoyment out of it for it happening, I think.
Yeah.
That's a large part of it. But no, I understand football. I understand baseball. I mean, I was an athlete for many years, and then I chose, and I stopped being one. Then I just got really fat. But I always just preferred playing sports to watching sports, though. And I think that may be the difference. It's like I would rather play the game than just look at other people do it,
but you're never going to play basketball like Jordan.
Competently, or just even.
Well, not many people did play basketball like Michael Jordan,
Right.
They played like themselves.
That's kind of like I don't watch movies because I don't know. I'd rather
because they're animated.
You can't watch a movie as good as Martin Scorsese. You can't.
No, I'm just saying that sort of logic is like, well, I wouldn't want to watch a movie. I'd rather be in a play. I'd rather be up on stage and spitting out lines, and I don't want to watch a movie.
So you wouldn't want to watch Walking Dead. You'd rather.
I don't find the same amount of drama or comedy out of sports as I do from movies, though.
Well, but that's a personal preference that you have.
Yeah.
But your logic is not any better than mine. It's just you.
I'm not trying to disabuse you of watching sports.
No,
my logic is
I'm trying to do is if we're gonna do a thing on sports, it's gonna be the two of you going, yep, I don't like it. Nope, I don't like it either. What the hell? So that's why I'm just filling in.
Okay, well, let's get into it then. So why is it that it's only really football that attracts your attention, but you will dismiss baseball or soccer or what have you as not being as good as football?
Football, I understand better. I understand it more. I understand the nuances of it better.
Okay.
I played football. I coached football. Just was never a baseball guy. And it just seems a little boring to me. But that's okay. I mean, I know some people love it, and it's fine. Yeah. But football is just more interesting. I think basketball is super interesting. If you really wanted to get into it, I just find that basketball is a single star kind of game in that if you've got Michael Jordan on your team, there's a good chance you go all the way to the playoffs, even if he's dragging the rest of these guys that aren't that good with him. Whereas with football, it's less like that. It has to be a whole team effort,
I like
So
how
that's
it's like
why
a
I
war game. It's almost like a war. Like we all like playing war as kids, and football to me
Sure.
was like I like playing football even though I hated any kind of physical activity. I just wanted to watch cartoons and read comics when I was a kid.
We
But
do
I
have
went
a shout out on TikTok. Again, I say TikTok. A shout out on TikTok from someone saying Madden Lives won, which I'm sure is referring to John Madden, who is a prominent football announcer, former coach in the National Football League. So yeah, I do know some things about football.
And now he's dead.
I didn't know he died though.
Was he
John
canceled
Madden.
before he died? Was he one of those guys who said something?
I don't
when
think
was
he would have
dead?
ever said anything bad like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, he just died because he was
Old and fat. Old and
So I
fat.
have a
He
weird
died.
specific reason for resenting sports. And this is only I could think this. So I loved comic books growing up. I was
Yeah.
made fun of.
Uh,
I had to keep it a secret. And yet 90% of everyone I knew, adults, smarty pantses, non-smarty pantses, everyone was just like, oh, did you see the game last night? Let's talk about it for 7 hours. And let's discuss every obscure stat about this guy. And it's fascinating. And I'd be like, why am I considered a moron? I'm actually reading something. But it's okay to like sports, which believe me, I appreciate athleticism, but it doesn't take brains to appreciate sports. It's like, wow, this is like going to a great theater performance. It's like, no, it's just you're watching a bunch of guys running into each other. It's fun, athletic. But I was disparaged. I was like, oh, that's just kiddie stuff, reading comics.
Well, there's plenty of Rain Men in both activities. People who follow statistics of sports and people who read comic books. It's
I know.
filled with Rain Men.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean,
persecuted.
I
was a
like,
persecuted minority.
I got that you were persecuted by the jocks, and fine, I get it. I mean, I liked comic books, and I like sports. The thing about sports is that there's a lot more, depending on where you live or just numbers for whatever reason. There's a lot more guys you just run into that are going to go, yeah, let's go watch the football game or whatever.
Yeah.
And go, hey, let's go talk about this obscure set of comic books. If somebody did do that, I'd be into it. But I end up just sort of de facto on sports because, I'm not like picking and choosing my friends that delicately, I guess. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, let's go watch a game. What the fuck? Who cares?
I always wished I lived in an alternate reality where it's like 80% of the people like read comics and talked about it. And every Monday night it would be like Monday night comic book talk on ABC, 3 hours of comic writers. And
Isn't that Kevin Smith's podcast? Isn't that what that's all about?
Kind of, but it's not a big thing. But that in my dream world, every Monday would have been the highest rated show. Everybody would be like, did you see Monday night comic book talk last night? Holy shit.
I think the reason I don't really watch a lot of sports and I watch other things like movies or television shows is probably because I don't find enough drama and comedy and what have you involving the human condition from sports. I mean, I can see it and I could get it, in terms of how people get into that. But, and I can appreciate the athlete's abilities. In other words, I'll watch old clips. I've been watching like YouTube videos of why people idolize Larry Bird over many other basketball players, because he was probably the biggest shit talker of anybody.
Biggest asshole.
Potentially, yes.
Asshole.
Right. And the fact is that, you then watch the guys' way in which they perform and you go, okay, I can see why people get into this. So, when I dig into deeper in terms of the stories of the athletes, I'm more interested in their stories than in their performances.
Like Rocky.
If Rocky had been a real boxer, yeah.
But that movie was very dramatic, and it was because.
And to be honest, of the sports, I think boxing might be my favorite. So, I do enjoy boxing matches.
Blood sport.
I'm not a fan of boxing or MMA or
not so much into MMA. I actually prefer boxing over MMA. So
then again, I mean, we have to talk about the fact is, like sports. I know guys that come home and they watch Sports Center and they watch all the games and they're, everybody's driving around here in Tampa going, oh, the Lightning are going to win the Stanley Cup again, and it's a big deal. And and then once
Wait, you're saying Tampa Bay has a hockey team?
Hell yeah, we've won the Stanley Cup 2 years in a row. We're in the playoffs.
That's so surprising that an area known for its high humidity has a hockey team. That kind of cracks.
Well, they go to the ice rink to escape the humidity.
What? They have ice rinks in Florida, Greg?
Yeah, that's why they love it.
Why would they have that?
They probably like ice rinks more than we do because they're so hot all the time.
Now,
yeah, sure.
To Matt's point, there aren't obviously high school hockey teams in Florida like there are literally high school hockey teams in Minnesota and Wisconsin. But we do have a hockey team, and they're all from somewhere else, obviously. And we're like the New England Patriots of hockey right now. My point is, there are guys that jump from thing to thing. They go football, and now it's basketball, and it's baseball. We were sitting. I went out to dinner with the wife and the kids, and it's there's like TVs on, and the lady's like, "I'm sorry, these guys are watching the NFL draft." There were guys that were there watching the NFL draft. Who gives a shit? I'm not that guy.
So you don't do like fantasy football, is what you're saying?
I haven't done that in probably 10 years.
Yeah. Well, I think gambling is a major part of competitive sports too. I think that's what drives a lot of that.
The one time in my life I loved watching sports and it was exciting as fuck was I had money writing on it. The series. It was I think it was like 5-7 years ago.
It was the Paint Your Bread with Mayonnaise series. Was that the one you were watching?
It was basketball, and it was the Warriors versus
Warriors come out to play.
The Warriors were not supposed to wait. I might be mixing it up, but they were so not supposed to win. And it went to the 7th game. And so I had money writing on the game, and I was the only guy in the pool after one guy. The main guy was going to win most of it, but I was going to win at least $70 or something. And I did it on a lark. My friends at the bar just said, "Great, put $10 in. Come on, join our pool." It's like, I don't even watch sports. They were like, "We'll pick the teams for you. Don't worry about it." And I made it all the way to the 7th game, and it was like one of those things. It was 3-3. And so it was already on that last game, and it was really close the whole game. And I went to a bar, and I felt more American that night than I've ever felt in my life.
I think when Brendan finally comes out here, Greg, that we should watch a football game with him.
Are we in person or on TV?
Well, no, we would be in person with him, but we would watch it on TV.
Oh, so not go to a port to see a football game.
A football port?
I bet you if you're all up for the drive, I could get Seattle Seahawks tickets.
I don't want to go to a stadium. I have no desire to go to a stadium at all. I'm okay with watching at a bar. There's plenty of sports bars around I could watch a game at, but
that's fine.
Yeah, I don't really want to. I don't like people that much these days to go where there's huge gatherings of them, unless it's like something I really, really want to go to.
But when I had the money on that 7th game, I was seriously in the bar, just like every other guy at a sports bar that I'd always be like, "Dude, lighten up." Or I'd be screaming at the screen. I'd be like, "Oh, fuck yeah! Oh!"
I had a roommate in college who was a member of our college football team. Big guy. I mean, he was like 6'5", and like not quite my current build, but he had a pretty big build. He was a lineman, and you would hear him down the hall in the dorms, literally screaming at the television when there was football. When there was football on.
Yeah, your neighbors.
And the weird thing was that he was also a chemical engineering major, and I went, it's not right that you're this athletic and you're also smart. I said, there's something not okay about this. Like, you're not supposed to win that kind of lottery, man. It's not fair. But he also kind of snored when he talked too.
You know what happens to me has happened to me a few times where I've either run karaoke or done karaoke at a bar, but they're still watching the game. The game's like finishing up. So a lot of people in the bar aren't there for karaoke. They're watching the game with the sound off. And I'll get done singing my song, some shitty song, and all of a sudden you'll be like, "Yeah!" And for a second I'm like,
"Is it for me?" No, they scored.
They love me.
No,
They
they
really
scored a
love me.
touchdown.
Yeah,
I thought we were going to get through an episode of the show without the word karaoke being said, but nope, we couldn't do it.
Well, that's all we do, Matt. Come on. That's our life.
It's like we can't abuse Brendan this much with karaoke, Greg. It's really
I
not
just
fair.
wanted to bring that up because it is funny. When, like, for a second, I'm like, wow,
It was funny.
People cheered me on.
I have seen that happen. I've been in those circumstances as well. Anyway, now is a really good time because we're at definitely past the halfway mark to bring on our newest edition of Food is for Eatin with Waspy Soda Pop.
But I don't have to pee yet. Can we wait? Stop.
Shut up. You're going to deal with it, buddy.
Pee
You're
early.
just going to deal with it.
At Safe Mart, it's a Safe Mart. Come to Safe Mart and be safe.
Safe Mart is a proud sponsor of Waspy Soda Pop and Food is for Eatin. This week's special, Holocaust Whiskey. 5 gallons for $5. Come get some. Safe Mart. Be safe.
Food is for eatin'. Food is for eatin'. Food is for eatin' with Waspy Soda Pop.
Hey there, everybody. This is Waspy Soda Pop with another edition of Food is for Eatin'. I got a special treat for you. One of my cousins has been bugging me for a long time to come on the show. So here he is, all the way from Big Bone Lick, Kentucky, my cousin Hornet Greg Sarsaparilla, with a homemade drink for the upcoming sweltering summer days. I know you can't wait to have something cool in you when the things get hot. Hey, this is Hornet Greg Sarsaparilla with my favorite drink. It's called Greg's Magical Elixir. First, you want to get 2 pints of cream sherry, a box of premium deluxe $5 wine, a liter of Diet Pepsi, 2 bottles of tequila-flavored wine, 1 quart of mortar oil, 1 quart of Holocaust whiskey, a jar of maraschino cherries, 2 pints of whipped sour cream, 1 laundry tub, 2 bags of ice, 1 pair of jorts, my favorite, 4 mason jars, and 1 group of friends. All right, here's your directions. Collect your wines, your whiskey, your sherry, your Diet Pepsi, the motor oil, the ice, and the laundry tub, and all get into a party location. Open the containers and pour them all in the laundry tub in the following order: the box wine, cream sherry, tequila wine, motor oil, Diet Pepsi, and finally, the Holocaust whiskey. It's very important you put them in that order because you're layering. Next, you want to empty both bags of ice into the mixture. Quickly, change your clothes and put on those jorts. Hop into the laundry tub and swish around. Swish. Get out of the tub, call your friends, fill up the 4 mason jars with Greg's Magical Elixir, and top with the whipped sour cream maraschino cherry. You've got the best aperitif ever made. And this is me. I am Hornet Greg Sarsaparilla, or you can just call me Horny. Thanks, Waspy, for letting me on the show. Well, thank you, Hornet Greg. I appreciate your contribution to our Food is for Eatin' episode of this week. Anyway, thanks for everybody listening, and have a good holiday, whatever holiday you might be having sometime near you. Memorial Day's coming up. Celebrate that one.
I don't talk like
that. No, you don't talk like that. That wasn't you, Greg.
Yeah, Greg? You never have a middle name in there. It's always like a hornet or a wasp and a soda pop in a different language. So I could see if it was just Hornet Sarsaparilla, but all of a sudden Greg had to be in there.
Well, it was Hornet Greg, so that's like a nickname.
And he likes
Greg is the nickname in this case.
He likes fake tequila wine. He likes Pepsi and wine combined.
Strangely coincidental. I don't know how that happened.
Sherry, dessert sherry, which I made that mistake once. I'll never do it again. You're the worst.
What did I do? I'm just facilitating Waspy
And then on
Soda
top
Pop's
of that,
program.
you're gonna have Glad getting us kicked off of YouTube.
Why? Why would that happen?
It was a little mincing gay guy type.
I never said
stereotype.
anything. There was nobody who said anybody was gay in that whole thing.
Yeah, I read when he said his friends, and they're all shirtless guys, not one girl, and a bunch of friends.
Well, I mean, he has friends. What's the big? I mean, he has friends who are men. So what? That doesn't make a person gay.
Oh no, that guy was totally homo.
I think you're making far too many assumptions, Greg. And perhaps this is an issue of your own, being closeted the way you are. That, if you feel more comfortable letting us know at sometime in the future, it's okay. We'll still love you the way you are, Greg.
I wish I was confident because then I have something to look forward to, like coming out of the closet. And nice, fun, interesting chapter of my life could begin. But no, I'm just stuck in my rut of asexuality with interruptions.
We're back to this again.
Oh, it's a sad thing. Well, in that case, we're just going to have to go on to our next segment, which is time for everybody's favorite.
He has an opinion, may not always be right. He's a real fake lawyer. He's old and he's white. Ask him a question, 'cause he's a good egg for bogus advice. Ask Greg. Ask Greg? Ask Greg!
I need a shot of Holocaust whiskey right now. Excuse me. I have the vapors, I believe.
See, we can never stop doing that, Greg, because your jingle is the best. So,
a good one.
That's right.
It is pretty classic.
It's a catchy little jingle. So we can never.
Thank you, Ivana.
So, since we're now in Asking Greg land, Brendan, do you happen to have any questions from our audience of a legal nature to pass on to Greg? Perhaps they're sports related. Who knows?
Am I the wonderful wizard of Ask Greg land?
You are Greg, is what you are.
Here, I have one. This is from, he just says, Stefan from Philadelphia. He writes in, Dear Greg, I'm like the most sporty sporto that's ever sported sports. I come from the fucking sports town of Philadelphia, where fucking Rocky, fucking Eagles, blah blah.
Don
so
Henley's
here's what happened to me. Yeah, I got in a fight with the Zamboni and I killed it, and now I'm up on a murder rap because they said it was a hate crime because I called it a filthy wop. What do you advise me to do? Signed, Stefan.
Well, first of all, I gotta say, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. A little something I've been saying for years, a little catchphrase I invented. But
so that's the only reason you shouldn't do the crime is that you can't do the time. You shouldn't just not do the crime because it's a crime.
Well, I mean, someone without morals, you have to give them another reason.
Oh,
if they're a sociopath, they'll be like,
enough.
why not do a crime? Why not killing a Zamboni? That Zamboni fucked my wife or something. I don't know what the Zamboni did. It's still against the law, though. And especially if he just kept his mouth shut, it would have been a hate crime.
Oh, God, that's a great T-shirt, Greg. That Zamboni fucked my wife. That's a perfect T-shirt.
But if you just kept your mouth shut, Stefan, it would have been a hate crime. People, you might have gotten off on you lost your head, but you obviously had something against Italian ice cleaner machinery. Just Italian ones. You didn't say oh, I hate machines. You said you wop.
Yeah, it wasn't a Zambonski, so.
Yeah, was it Zambonski? Is that a Polish one?
I don't know. I just made it up.
Zamboni. Sorry, I can't think of any other language. A Zambone. It's French. I think a Zambone. That's a French one. So you do have to go to jail.
Then there's the Zamboners.
You do have to go to jail for hate crimes. And let me just say, just not as a lawyer, I find you despicable. The Zamboni, one of the few great inventions made by Italians, and you killed it. And for no reason except you just don't like Italians. And we gave you fucking pasta and meatballs.
I thought it was the Chinese that gave us pasta.
Shut up! That's a fucking lie. Marco Polo fucking bullshit. Don't believe it. We invented pasta. The Chinese stole it.
Okay, got it. Well, that was our edition of Ask Greg. Quite a heated version of Ask Greg.
I'm sorry. I'm a half Italian lawyer.
I'm sending him a very hateful email right now.
Which does remind me, everybody, that one of our episodes, the Genocide Schmenocide episode, was removed from YouTube for hate speech. So if anybody actually ever wants to see that particular episode, it will be available on Patreon. So if you get a membership to our Patreon, which is QSB Law on Patreon, then that is the episode you'll be able to see. Anything ever gets banned or deleted from any social media, it'll wind up on Patreon. That's where we'll
So
put it.
Patreon
And
doesn't care.
And at some point, we could lose this entire channel, and then everything will just be on Patreon from that point on, and that's where we'll do live shows. And
Wait, can we still be on just podcasting without video?
well, there's always
It's
the
just
potential that the podcasting platform can delete us off of their platform as well.
That happens. That's the thing.
It does. It does happen.
So Patreon doesn't give a shit, apparently. So we could sell copies of Mein Kampf as a Patreon.
You can sell copies of Mein Kampf as a librarian, Greg.
Yeah, but you couldn't read it on a podcast.
Why couldn't you read Mein
They
Kampf on a
banned it.
podcast?
You get canceled.
I think it depends upon what you're saying. I mean, it depends if you're doing it in German too.
We weren't saying anything hateful against anyone, and we got banned.
It said we had hate speech in that episode. I don't know what the hate speech was in that episode.
One of the sentences specifically said that we incited violence against a certain...
that particular one, I remember we were just reading shit off of Wikipedia for the most part. But then again, there could have been some aside that one of us said that was deemed hate speech by others.
I might have said something like blacks are better at dancing and singing than we are.
Yeah,
I've said that. And I don't
Right.
think that's racist. It's just true. I'm sorry. And they're better at boxing. Sorry. We talked about that once. It's not racist. It's true.
Uh-huh. That's what many racists say.
No. They would say
They
something
do.
hateful.
Yes. Racists
No, they
say
would
that. They'll say
black
things
people
like
are
that, and they'll
a
go.
negative,
They'll say it's not racism
negative
because it's true.
Well, what if it's a good, positive thing?
It's still the same, Greg.
Why is that? Why
Still
is that
the same.
hateful? Why
It's
is that
very hateful. It's because you're demeaning somebody else who isn't as good. That's why.
No, but everyone has. So you're saying we talked about this already.
Wait, look what you
can't
made
deny-
Brendan do, Greg. Look what you made him do. You made him put
that
a
a
rubber nipple up
sphincter?
against the camera.
Oh.
It's a sphincter? What?
Oh my God! So I was talking to a coworker today, and
That
she
is
just
amazing.
got a sex change operation, and
Yeah.
she was talking about all these. There's some people out there who don't even want to change their sex, but they just want to be sexless, so they want to get rid of their nipples. She knows 2 guys who have no nipples, surgically remove their nipples, and also this one guy she knows wants to just have a smooth Ken doll thing. It's not because he wants to be a woman or not.
He wants to be a
just-
doll.
He wants asexual. He wants to be completely asexual, androgynous, androgyne, as they're known.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
It makes you wonder, like, what way do they derive pleasure in the world if they choose to go completely sexless?
Serial
Do
killing.
do these people work with you?
Well, the one I work with is she's a trans woman.
Wait, she has one eye?
The one I work with.
The one eye? Why
The
do you
one-
call her a
she's
one
the-
eye?
Is that a slur? I should say
Listen, one eye.
a monofocal American. No, she's the old one eye. I call her. She's a pirate queen. She's a patch. But she got a sex. She just always wanted to be a woman. She was, always had body dysmorphia. But she's talking about guys who are just like, I just want to be some alien, whatever. It has nothing to do with like be a man or a woman. I just
Well, it's
want
like that
to-
woman who got so many plastic surgeries so that she could look like a cat.
Oh yeah, I remember her.
But we got a
Yeah,
couple of
no.
shout outs from Sanchez Eldorado on YouTube. His first one was Hornet Greg with 2 exclamation points. So obviously Hornet Greg is a hit with Sanchez Eldorado.
No,
which
maybe
means
he was.
He's also
in
in a closet
He was
as well.
shocked.
But he also said if they haven't canceled us, you guys don't have anything to worry about. So he could
Maybe
be
those
correct
exclamation points mean he was shocked and just like, oh my God, man.
there. Or he was attracted to Hornet Greg. It could have been that too.
Either one, yeah.
It could be like him asking for a date, possibly, because Sanchez Eldorado is similar to you in the sense that he isn't involved with anybody, and
Yes.
probably never will be again.
By choice.
Wow. This
By
this
choice
took
or-
a really dark turn.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let's
We're going
talk
after
about
our 2 listeners.
Sorry, Sanchez.
It's like if
Let's
we
just-
alienate our 2 listeners,
You
who
already
do we
knew
have
Matt
left
was
to listen?
You already knew Matt was a dick, and now it's just confirmed.
Yeah,
Isn't it already
let's
confirmed if they already know it?
That's what I'm saying. Well, no, they don't. They weren't for sure.
Oh, so there was a question of whether or
You
not
could be asshole-ish. But now that was like full on asshole.
Oh, got it. So I've entered the complete anus quality, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Just like that thing that Brendan just showed me in the camera.
His personal sphincter.
The rubber, sound like a personal Jesus.
That was a song from Johnny Cash.
Jesus.
Or Depeche Mode, I'm sorry. So what is that thing you're showing us, Brendan? What is that thing?
It's it's like one of these,
It's one of these.
It's a friend.
It's a squeezy thing. It's a stress ball.
That's what Greg calls it too.
It's any port in a storm that has sporting events.
What am I going to do with this? Get this up. Even if I tried, I don't know.
So I would like to say, though, strangely enough, that I don't like watching sports at all, any sport. Every now and then I've watched the Super Bowl or watched a basketball game and kind of gotten into it like the last 5 minutes when it's really dramatic. But I love movies about sports. I just saw that Lakers TV series, The Winning Time, with John C. Reilly. I love Rocky. Rocky gets me at the end every time. I'm just like, oh, Rocky, get him in. I really get into those movies. But it's weird. I guess like Matt, I want to know the story of these people and why that's important to them. Winning the championship isn't an end to itself. It's some kind of redemption for their life. They had a shitty life or something. That's what makes it dramatic.
Yeah, like Hoosiers,
I've never seen Hoosiers, but I
think Hoosiers is definitely in my top 5 sports movies.
I've never seen it. I know it's good, but it escaped me.
Top 5 sports movies.
Yeah.
Does Jerry Maguire count as a sports movie? Or are we going more sportsy?
I think sports movies would be ones that are like focused on the teams or the athletes themselves.
Does
Jerry Maguire's focused upon the sports agent, so not quite.
Does
the
he
same
even
thing.
show?
So then I guess Remember the Titans.
Is that the one with Denzel Washington?
Yeah,
that was a good movie.
That's the integrated high school team in Virginia.
Yeah, cool. Wasn't that based on a team in Alexandria, Virginia?
Yeah, it was based on a true story and the whole thing. And I think Holly might have even met Coach Boone somewhere, and I might even had an autographed book at some point. I don't remember.
What was that one movie back in the 70s with James Caan?
Rollerball.
No.
Rollerball is the best sports movie.
Okay, all right, there you go.
Ever.
Rollerball.
No,
but in terms of like a real sport,
Slapshot's amazing. Slapshot's such a good movie.
Slapshot's fun. That's a fun movie.
With the Hanson brothers, those 2 mongoloid brothers,
and Paul Newman in that one. Yeah.
So wait.
But maybe what was that movie with Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray and Randy Quaid? It was a Farrelly Brothers movie about bowling. That might be my favorite sports movie.
That's a good one.
But I can't remember. Kingpin. That was the name of it.
Kingpin's good.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen Kingpin.
Oh, well.
I'll have to watch that.
You should watch that. It's got some good laughs to it. It's not necessarily a high art piece of cinema.
But
it's got some really good laughs in it here and there. So
I mean, the Farrelly brothers didn't make a. So Matt, though, the sports teams, though, were you like roused? Like, is there a final scene where they're bowling, trying to get a spare or a strike, and you're like, because like that's what movies do to me. Sports movies actually make me on the edge of my seat. We're like, get the basket. You can do a Kareem. I'll really get into it.
Well, you've seen You saw Kingpin, right? Didn't you, Greg?
Yeah, and I don't remember. I liked it because it was funny.
But there was a moment at the end of it where he was having to beat Bill Murray was the bad guy in it. So there was this final competition, and there was supposed to be this moment of redemption for like one of the main characters.
But even though I don't like watching, say, basketball, for instance, this Lakers TV show. Half the show was like recreations of the games.
Yeah.
Like, this game with Magic Johnson and Kareem and what happens. And I was so into it. I was just like, oh, yeah, he got it. The 3-pointer. Like, I was totally getting into it like a sports fan. But if it was a real basketball game, I never would have turned it on. I would just be like, yeah, basketball game.
Yeah, because there's not like that other element to it.
Yeah.
There's the fiction isn't there.
But if you knew about sports enough, like Brendan, he might know the stories of these.
Certain Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing about following a team, right? So you, for reasons known only to you, you pick a team that becomes like your team, right? So then you know about your team. So when this guy gets traded or you get this new guy, you kind of, it's part of understanding the story of your team and that guy. Maybe you like him, you don't like him, it's a bad trade. And that's when you talk to a sports guy, that's what he's going to say. Like, I guess for football, there's probably Seahawks guys. So if you talk to football fans in Portland about football, if they were into football, they'd be like, yeah, I'm kind of, there'd be guys that go, oh man, I'm so glad we got rid of Russell Wilson. Now we just need to rebuild the team. And there'll be others who are like, that was the dumbest thing ever. They mismanaged the whole, and that's part of the game. And then everybody has arguments about it.
Since there's no professional football team in Portland, it's generally into three camps. There's people who like the Seahawks, people who like the 49ers, and people who like the Raiders. Are the Raiders back in Oakland again? Are they in LA?
They're in Las Vegas.
They're in Las Vegas now. They've even moved out of California. I had no idea. Okay. The Las Vegas. Las Vegas finally got a football team. Son of a gun.
That's better than the Utah Jazz.
Well, Utah Jazz is basketball, Greg.
I know, but just the team switching where it didn't make any sense. Yeah, the New Orleans Jazz made sense.
They went from New Orleans to
the least jazz-like place in the world.
Oh, I didn't know they were in New Orleans before they went to Utah.
That's why they're called the Jazz. And then Utah.
Well, it's like the Lakers. What the hell are the Lakers doing in LA? Where are the Lakers from?
Did they start?
Anyone know?
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota. They were the Minnesota Lakers back in.
I never thought of that. Yeah,
60s, 70s, and then they went to LA and they became the LA Lakers, and they stayed the LA Lakers. And I'm like, what fucking lake are you talking about in LA? But when they were in Minnesota, it made sense because they're
those dry reservoirs that the people drive cars in Greece.
Right.
Those are the lakes.
Those are the LA lakes, the empty reservoirs from Chinatown.
I think that when
Lakers
Utah,
Minneapolis. But.
When Utah bought the Jazz, they should have changed the name to like the Magic Underwears or something that was more reflective of their culture.
Is Magic Underwear reflective?
Their culture, the Utah culture.
Is it similar to Greg's Magical Elixir?
Kinda.
Well, the Seattle Supersonics, which was the basketball team I grew up with, left to Oklahoma, and now they're the Oklahoma Thunder, I think, or
okay,
something like
that.
Oh
yeah, I think I heard something. An old chiropractor of mine used to be was a member of the Supersonics. He joined the team for a brief period of time, then he realized it really wasn't for him, and so he left to just stay in chiropractic. And then I found out that the Supersonics didn't exist anymore. I went, I didn't know they were gone.
So they did change. That's the one time City.
Yeah, that one. They didn't go to Oakland to be the Oakland or the Oklahoma Supersonics.
Yeah, although that could have still worked, I guess, because Supersonic could be to anything,
No, it was the
certainly
Seattle,
makes more sense than the LA Lakers.
They built jets there. There's Boeing built all the jets in Seattle. That's why it was called the Supersonics.
That's why it was called that.
Yeah, because
Boeing.
It was the most jets were made in America in the Seattle area.
Were they like the owners of the team or something? That's why they were able to get the name.
Not necessarily. It's just that they're proud of the Seattle was nothing before the 90s. It was just a shit little town.
Have you ever seen a Seahawk, Greg?
I never have.
Are there such things as Seahawks?
I'm sure.
Yeah, they're also called ospreys.
Oh, okay.
They're because we have ospreys down here, but they're not Seahawks.
Yeah.
But they are Seahawks, quote unquote. So it's really a general term.
Well, this is the famous.
Does Minnesota still have the Twins as a baseball team?
Yep.
So if I remember correctly, the Minnesota Twins were originally the Washington Senators way back when. And then the Senators moved to Minnesota and changed their name to the Twins. But there's a new Washington Senators team now, baseball, which apparently came up in the last 10 or 15 years or something.
I thought they were the Nationals.
Oh, yeah, the Nationals, right. Yeah.
Hey, guys, whatever happened to the team that just became because they had an offensive name, They just became the
The
football
Redskins?
team. Is
The
Redskins?
Washington football team?
What were they called?
The Washington Redskins.
Washington Redskins
Yeah.
are now still the Washington football team. They haven't made.
Well, they changed the Washington
Yeah.
football, but I think they're changing it now to the Washington Commodores or something like that. I think that's
The
gonna be
band?
their
I
name.
don't know about that.
Is that where the
But
comic
they're
Lionel
definitely-
Richie's from?
Yes. As a matter of fact, the team is going to be made up solely of former members of the Commodores.
And their children.
Yes. And their agents. They're all going to be the ones getting cremated on the field by other football teams that are
Yeah.
more designed to play
I think
football.
they should just stay with the Washington football team, if you ask me.
Honestly, I wish
That's
all of the
ridiculous.
football teams for every state would change their name to that, honestly. I would like the Seattle football team, Las Vegas football team. You know, what's with these mascots? Nobody needs a freaking mascot. Just
What
be
about-
what you say you are.
What about New York, though? What would New York do with the Yankees and the Mets? It was like the
Well, you
other.
just change it to the borough they're from. They can be the Brooklyn Mets or wherever the hell they are.
Okay. What about the other New York baseball team?
That would be good too. But then you have the New York baseball team, the New York basketball team, the New York football team.
I think it's the New York Mets and the Manhattan Yankees. I mean, that just seems like that's how I would call it out.
Or
Yeah.
just the damn Yankees.
Like the Brooklyn Dodgers used to be.
Yeah, and then they went to Los Angeles.
Because Brooklyn is bigger than most American cities.
Now the question is, where did Dodger come from in the Brooklyn Dodgers? Were they
I think it
dodging
was the
baseballs?
Subway Dodgers.
Yeah.
Because they were all like lower
What is
class. That, you know, Brooklyn was seen as like this, and they would like be running from the trains or something like that. I
So
think
then it went
was-
to L.A. and it stayed the Dodgers in L.A. So once
Yeah.
again, it doesn't make any sense.
I'm running in front of the train, and then I dodged it.
Well, I think
Dodging
the
streetcars, probably.
the
They
manager
were
was the awful
dodging.
Dodger.
They were dodging trains. They did that. Like
I
that
think
was
that,
their thing.
I heard that once. Something
Hey guys, come over here.
like, that was kind of like
Let's
a
get
thing
together.
for
We're
like a
gonna dodge
lower class
trains.
Brooklyn guy. Like, oh, he's a fucking Subway Dodger.
They're
Kinda got
dodging. They're dodging Greg's logic, is what they were dodging.
No, I'm sorry. I just
Were-
heard this, and now that I say it out loud,
Were-
yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
Were
But I heard this once.
were they dodging the turnstile?
It
Maybe,
would
Maybe
go
they were-
really, really fast, and they'd have to get through it really quick.
maybe they were dodging bullets like Neo in the Matrix.
They were
like,
dodging the
really
draft,
good.
is what they were doing.
Could be that too.
Yeah, a combination of all of those.
Oh,
All right. Well, I
don't
think
know.
we've
Can
done
we all
an-
agree though that rollerball is the best sport ever made?
the best sport ever made.
Yes.
No, we can't agree on that because it's not. It doesn't exist, Greg.
It does when you watch the movie. It has rules.
Well, it's a movie, Greg. It's kind of like
I
Soylent
know.
Green. You know.
But it was
Okay,
made.
so Greg, then one of the things we have to do, because I know roller derby is a thing up there. We have to go to a roller derby match.
Oh, I love roller derby. Because all the women have like really strong thighs. They're like Art
Yeah.
Crumb women. Every woman in roller derby looks like an Art Crumb model. But that was a
telling you.
thing where I didn't know the rules at all. I went to a roller derby game because my friend was a roller derbyist, and I
Yeah.
had no fucking clue what they were doing. I'm like, oh, you're just. And then luckily her friend was in this aisle with me. I'm sorry, in the porch with me, and he was explaining as we went along, and I was like, oh, I get it. This is exciting because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was excited.
They're just going
because it was-
around in circles.
yeah, all these firm thighs and buttocks. But then I got more excited when I knew the rules of the game, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool!" Like she's the what do they call the one who's like the point woman.
One woman.
They don't have a ball, but they're like the front, and everyone protects them so they can go around faster. I can't explain it, but it does have rules, and they're easily understandable.
Yeah.
And it was way better once I knew the rules. I was like, "Oh, this is kind of a cool sport."
Well, I'll YouTube the shit out of it, and then we'll go for sure.
So it's like
they're
down
in
with some roller
Vancouver.
derby.
it's like auto racing, Greg, but with
Yeah,
women
if you're going
on.
to be in Vancouver, Brendan,
roller skates.
that's where the stadium is for the roller derby. I
I thought it was in Oaks Park.
They might do it now. When I first started 10
Oh.
years ago, I went to the first ones here when the team was kind of new, and it was in Vancouver. I went up across the river. Gotta sound
No,
like
I
such
think there's a
country guy.
league, and so they're in different parts of the area. So there's Vancouver,
Oh, there might be another,
Portland,
and then the Oaks
yeah,
Park one.
I think. Anyway, all
You
right.
know
Well,
what? we'll figure it all out. I'm going to be the roller derby
King,
dude, king.
Roller derby,
mean-
dude. That's going to be your new hobby. Not going to get into dragon boats?
No.
No.
You're going to be the roller derby
You
Casanova.
could get involved in dodgeball. There's dodgeball leagues here, too.
Is that still a thing?
probably still
Maybe after I get maybe once I'm in a little better shape.
And then there's those guys who ride down the hill on little bikes.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck those.
Can't remember.
Yeah, I know
rocket
those.
bikes or something like that. I can't remember what they're called.
Fuck, no.
You're too young for that, are you, Brendan?
We'll go to
Yeah,
that and we'll put a piano wire across the street.
Oh, Jesus.
Just for kicks.
Just for fun. Just for some, like, fun
For shits
amputations.
and giggles.
There's no weekend better than seeing an arm fly off a skateboarder.
Sink.
Let me just see if there's anything else left here from Sanchez Eldorado. He goes, you don't have to make it sound so sad. I don't know what he was talking about there. Okay, so anyway, this has been the Law Offices Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker, and our episode was Ports of Sports, Thwart, Jorts. But it didn't because we actually had an actual Jort worn during the course of the Food is for Eating episode. So there was a Jort there.
War?
It was worn by Jason Alexander.
Oh, I thought you said war. I was like, I don't remember a big debate about
Jort War coming soon
Good
to theaters near you.
Jorts on
Short
trial.
war.
Jorts on trial. No more jorts in this town. Begone. Off with you. All right, but don't forget, everybody, to get to see us in various different formats, www.qsblaw.org, where you can get our merchandise. If you're interested in buying stuff that has our faces on it, because that's basically what's there. June 15th. Remember, June 15th is second annual Step Up to the Bar Association and Awards Banquet, where the Quibble Awards will be given out. It's a big party and lots of fun for at least somebody somewhere. We'll see.
Your consultation with the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker has ended. You may pay your retainer at www.qsblaw.org. Please exit to the right of the water cooler and grab a candy from the front desk. We hope to see you again soon, but you need to leave now. I said leave. Why don't they ever listen? Get out! Get out!